Picture this. A teenage girl in a nowhere village that isn't even mentioned once in the entire Old Testament is minding her own business, probably folding laundry or drawing water from the well, when suddenly the most powerful being in the universe crashes into her ordinary day with the wildest announcement in human history. You're going to give birth to God Himself. No crown, no palace, no royal bloodline on the surface, just Mary. And out of the billions of women who had ever lived or ever would live, God picked her. Why? Why this girl? Why not a princess from Jerusalem, a scholar from Alexandria, or at least someone from a priestly family? I've spent years digging into Luke chapter 1, and the reasons God chose Mary are not just beautiful, they're shocking, almost scandalous, and they completely flip everything we assume about how God works. Stay with me, because the last reason I'm going to drop at the end is the one that still makes scholars argue and preachers sweat when they realize what had actually happened. Let's go verse by verse, no fluff, just the raw text and what it's really saying. First hook, Mary was not randomly selected. Luke 1:28, the angel Gabriel shows up and says, "Greetings, you who are highly favored. The Lord is with you." The Greek word for highly favored is katcharidomin, a perfect passive participle that literally means you who have been and continue to be completely soaked in grace. This isn't, hey, you're nice. This is, God has been pouring grace into you for years in a way that's unique in human history. In other words, Mary wasn't chosen in that moment. She had already been chosen and prepared long before she knew it. Second hook, she was poor and powerless on purpose. Nazareth was a joke town. When Nathanael hears Jesus is from there, he literally says, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" Archaeologists tell us it had maybe 200 to 400 people, mostly day laborers. Mary's family wasn't broke. They had a house with a courtyard, but they were nowhere near elite. God deliberately skips the rich, the educated, the influential, and picks a girl whose social status is basically zero. Why? Because if the Messiah had to come in weakness so that no one could ever say human power or prestige had anything to do with it. Third hook. She was a virgin. And that wasn't just about prophecy fulfillment. Isaiah 7:14 said the Messiah would be born of a virgin, sure. But Luke stresses it twice because virginity in that culture meant something brutal. No social safety net. If Joseph divorced her, which he had every legal right to do, Mary would be unmarriageable, probably destitute, and her child labeled a bastard for life. By choosing a virgin, God was forcing Mary to stake everything, reputation, future, safety, on trusting His word. Her yes cost her everything the world values. Fourth hook, her Magnificat. In Luke 1:46-55 is straight up, revolutionary. Listen to this. He has scattered those who are proud in their inmost thoughts. He has brought down rulers from their thrones, but has lifted up the humble. He has filled the hungry with good things, but has sent the rich away empty. This is not a sweet lullaby. This is a teenage girl prophesying the total upending of the world order because her son is coming. Mary understood the mission better than most of the apostles ever did, but here's the reason that still blows my mind every single time. The one I promised would shock you. Look at Luke 1:35. The angel says, "The Holy Spirit will come on you, and the power of the Most High will overshadow you." That word overshadow is episkiazo in Greek. It's the exact same word used in Exodus 40:35, when the glory cloud of God's presence overshadows the tabernacle so intensely that even Moses can't enter. It's the same word used at the Transfiguration, when the cloud overshadows Jesus, Peter, James, and John. Do you see what Luke is doing? He's telling us that Mary's womb became the new Holy of Holies. The same Shekinah glory that once filled Solomon's temple now filled a teenage girl from Nazareth. God didn't just put his son inside a woman. He turned Mary herself into the living ark of the covenant, the walking temple, the place where heaven and earth kissed. That's why Catholics and Orthodox call her Theotokos, God-bearer. Not because she's divine, but because for 9 months she literally carried infinity in her body. And the craziest part? She said yes before she understood any of this. Luke 1:38. I am the Lord's servant. May your word to me be fulfilled. No negotiation. No, let me talk to Joseph first. Immediate, total surrender. So why did God choose Mary? Because she was already full of grace, because she was humble enough to the bone, because she was willing to be ruined for the sake of the gospel. And because God wanted the world to know forever that when he decided to become human, he didn't pick the strong. He picked the weak so that every Christmas we'd remember. His power is made perfect in weakness. And the living temple that once rested on gold and cedar now rested under the heart of a girl who probably still had calluses from carrying water jars up the hill. That's why every time we sing, Round yon virgin, mother and child, we're not just repeating a pretty line, we're confessing the most explosive truth in history. God became small enough to fit inside the yes of a teenage girl. If that doesn't wreck you this Christmas, I don't know what will. Drop a comment. Which part of Mary's story hits you the hardest? And if this flipped your view of Christmas upside down, smash that like button and subscribe to Bible Between the Lines. Because next week we're tackling the one question everybody's afraid to ask about the wise men. You're not going to want to miss it. See you there.